Hello. It says I'm live. I have no clue if I'm live. It says we're live. It's showing some connection. I hear audio. It says I'm live. I have no clue if I'm. Alright. We're gonna be starting in a bit. I'm just gonna make sure we're live. About 5 minutes of delay. That's expected. Herndon Robotics. Does it say we're live? One concurrent view. It does not say we're live. Are we live? Public. It says we're public, but it's not saying we're live. Oh, we are live. Say we're live? One concurrent view. It does not say we're live. We are live. Public. Let me share this. But it's not saying we're live. Oh, we are live. Okay, let me get Discord for the time being. This is fun. I'm having fun. Are you guys having fun? Hello. I'm having fun. Yo, I need. That's a smile to my heart. That makes a smile to my heart. All right. I have no clue what's going on. No clue. No clue what we're doing. We're just in here. We have Nautilus gears. Okay, I don't have Slicer open. Where's Prusa Slicer? There it is. This is fun. Let me hide this. Is there no way to hide this? There used to be a way to hide this. Lock all taskbar. Do not lock them. Taskbar settings. Beautiful. We're doing taskbar settings, guys. Beautiful. Actually, can I move this live? That's fun. That's fun. We can move it while we're live. That's beautiful. There we go. There we go. Taskbar has been hidden. All right, we got Fusion 360 open. We're doing this. No clue what we're doing. I'm gonna just do a 5 minute, I don't know, 5 minute countdown. 5, 10. All right. Do we have audio, I think, right? We should have audio. Yeah, I think we have audio. Now it's displaying desktop audio. We have audio, I think, right? We should have audio. Yeah, I think we have audio. If I don't know, now it's displaying desktop audio. We have audio, I think, right? We should have audio. That's like an infinite loop. We don't want that. Okay. Yeah, I think we have audio. All right. If I don't know, now it's displaying desktop audio. We have audio, I think, right? We should have audio. That's like an infinite loop. We don't want that. Yeah, I think we have audio. All right. If I don't know, now it's displaying desktop audio. We have audio, I think, right? We should have audio. That's like an infinite loop. We don't want that. Yeah, I think we have audio. And we're back. Hopefully, yep, we're back. Okay. So, I guess it's just me and you. This is fun. Okay, so, hold up. Patrick, you coming on? Patrick, I cannot hear you. You coming on the stream? Patrick, are you coming on the stream? Are you coming on the stream? You're gonna be on, we're just gonna chill and do CAD. Are you coming or not?
Do you want me to do something? I mean, I could just be doing homework in the background if you want.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just talking with you.
Yep, I'm gonna Discord's installing on the laptop. Alright, I'll call you on there when I'm ready for you.
Okay.
On Discord. Alright. Alright, so hello people. We are going to be creating Nautilus gear. Oh, not creating. We're gonna be modifying Nautilus gears. And so first we're gonna talk about what gears are. Gears obviously, you know, they go together, they spin, they do stuff. But these are what we call Nautilus gears, and they're special because they look like Nautilus shells, and they have a constantly changing radius. That's the wrong side. So as you see, this side is very small compared to this side right here. So like you see, this is like super short, and this is super far away. So with a constantly changing radius, the speed is also constantly changing. So if we start right here, you know, it starts off pretty fast, it gets slower, or the speed of this one at least, and then increases, and then until we get right here and pushes right over. These are just fun little optical illusion things that we're just going to be doing basic modifications to. I don't plan for a lot of viewers or any. I'm really glad one of my friends is here, Dirty Sparkle, who's a streamer. But we're just going to be modifying these with Fusion 360, having some fun with them. And we're basically going to be removing these spokes and adding our logo, maybe shrinking them down. However, these are already pretty small for 0.3 millimeter lines, and I'll go over all that later. But besides that, we're just going to get right into it, and I'm going to open this file. And I'm also going to get Prusa Slicer opened as well. And it's what I use to slice files at home. And for those who don't know, well, people who are actually watching this later, if anyone's watching this later, Prusa Slicer is just, how do I say this? Prusa Slicer is a 3D printing slicer, and if you don't know what that is, a slicer is something that basically takes all your files you have. So you put in an STL or you put in your 3D file, and it'll go line by line and slice it and say, okay, we need to move this here to either cut it if you're using a CNC mill, or destructive manufacturing or subtractive manufacturing. And then there's additive manufacturing, like 3D printing, which basically it'll say, okay, we got to move the head here, 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 here to print it. So we're going to get right into this. I'm just going to load up the file for that. And I'm going to show you the original file I used here. And we're going to talk about a couple issues with this file. So first thing is, this is the file they gave me was not the actual file that was finally put on, like the final file they used. The final file they ended up using, they never updated this, which just has all the pieces together easily in one print go, was basically a, they added it so these pins were a lot easier to use, because what's happening is these pins were breaking off, and in fact, mine broke off and got stuck. I can show on the webcam this kind of can move. Mine broke on that side. I can still hold it, and it still works, but it's, you know, not the most optimal solution. So what we can do with this is we're just going to really be looking at modifying first this itself, getting our logo on there, Epsilon Delta, which stands for small change. From small changes come big differences, and it's an E and a triangle in Greek. That's what it looks like. And then we're going to be looking at doing stuff like maybe modifying this to be the more modern version, maybe something where you only need the bottom half and you can hold it right here and spin it. I don't know. We're just going to basically come along as we please, do what we need to. So I'm going to be installing Discord as well. Really wish I had more time to prepare for this, but I've had no time at all. So we're going to look at this sliced file. This is my draft. It's a custom setting. It's basically some things from the 2.5 millimeter draft, just made 0.3, so it's that much bigger. And the way 3D printing slicing works, as I said, it took our original file, which is this, you know, it's nice and curvy, and it made it into a bunch of lines, where if I load it this way, you'll see how these are all a bunch of lines, and I can actually show you layer by layer the lines that it would lay down because this is super thick. There you go. Most of those top ones are for those. You can especially see it right there on these, but that's pretty much how it works, is it takes it and generates the best and most optimal shape. The only issue is I would like to make this smaller, but we have to think, okay, when it gets this small, is it still going to function properly? Because we obviously, this is a little big to give out as a token, which is what we're designing it for, and it just seems a little bit much if you ask me. Oh, that's annoying. There we go. It's just, I think a little bit to have it this big. Apologize if you hear my family, they're talking with my dog, having fun with them. Alright, so I'm just going to load Fusion 360 while Discord does stuff. And this is if we go to the, well first let me show you a few things about this file. So I'm just going to go and type Nautilus Gears, and we'll see the file on Thingiverse by the, I'm assuming, original creator of it, because it's the one that has the most, I guess, additions, you could say, on top of it. And if it would load, wow, this is incredibly slow. I forgot how slow Thingiverse can be at times. Here we go. As you can see, this is the updated version. These are not updated. But what we're particularly looking at is more so, I guess, the more idea of it in general. And what I mean by that is if we come here, they'll give 7 thing files or 7 files. You can download them all in a zip file or download them each individually, not in a zip. So if there's like 50 different variations, I normally just go in and say I need this one and I'll download it here because it's a lot easier. I don't have to sort through anything a second time. So we're going to see, I'm going to give you a quick definition. An STL file is a type of 3D file, and that's why these are all in STL. You know, you have the gear itself, the bar upper, bar lower, then you have the curved connector, and then a plate. I think this is when they updated it. But then we have this DXF.dxf. This is probably just because it was DXF, and then it exported as a .dxf file. What this is allows us, is basically a sketch. And if you don't know anything about Fusion 360, it's going to be a little bit more complicated. But a sketch is essentially what you use to create 3D files. It's much simpler to just create a square using a sketch than something else. Think of it as a sketch on a 2D piece of paper. You have a 2D drawing of, I don't know, a triangle, and that's what a sketch is essentially. It's a 2D file here. We can see it. Now what we're going to do is you can basically make this 2D to 3D by doing what we call extrusion. And extrusion basically takes it and converts the 2D into 3D like so. However, the only issue is it's basically taking it and pulling it down, kind of. If you ever stretched like gum or silly putty like that, that's what it basically is it took our 2D file and just moved it down, which isn't necessarily an issue, but if you wanted to do stuff like really cool custom shapes and brackets, you would definitely do edits further past this. But this is all we really need to create a gear, because a gear, if you look straight on, there's nothing you don't see. The only thing is it's just thick. It's not like paper thin. That's the only real difference. Discord actually installed. This is great. I'm gonna log in quickly and not reveal my details to the world, hopefully. That's the wrong password. Okay. Is this the right password? This is the beauty of online streaming. Or first time streaming. Do I have any comments? None in the past minute. Okay, beautiful. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and call Patrick. He's someone else who does CAD with me. Yeah, I'm gonna show you, actually, nah. I'm just gonna call him. Hope this works. Hello. I'm not getting a audio from this. Hopefully that changes. Patrick, can you hear me?
Hello.
Patrick,
can you hear me?
I hear you. Do you hear me all right?
Yeah, I hear you, Mr. Sir.
All right, that's great.
Okay,
all right,
so I can be here till 6. I have a call at 6.
All right, well, that's fine because we're here till 6 as well.
Okay.
I'm hoping to get Vinay in as well, so he can talk about stuff he did. But we're just talking about 2D shapes and how you create something and you extrude it down, and that's pretty much how you turn 2D to 3D. You have your original, you have like a drawing, and you can just extrude it down, and that adds the third dimension. It's just basically saying, okay, how thick do you want to make this? If you can imagine, you took two exactly the same drawings and lined them up like this. You moved them apart. That's essentially what we're doing. Is we're saying, okay, all this becomes this. And I think
Should I pull up the stream?
Go ahead. Don't cause any.
I mean, I can't see anything.
Well, not stream. Yeah, go ahead, pull up the stream.
Okay, sir.
All right, this is. So.
I mean, I'll have it muted.
All right. So. This is funny. All right. So what we did was we took a sketch file, which is a DXF file. That's one of the file types, and it automatically imported as this, which is super useful. But we basically took this file, and now what I'm doing is I want to remove all these lines, and this is the quickest way of doing it. It's just removing all these lines. So I can come here and delete. It is being a little laggy, and I don't know why, especially considering this is the nice laptop, but whatever.
You have multiple variables, not just the laptop.
True. I'm also streaming somehow to like 3 people. One of them I think is me. One of them is my friend who I really appreciate coming. And I'm assuming one of them is you.
Hi.
Should probably put what? Hello, yes, what?
I'm alive.
You are alive. I know you're alive. I'm going to put a post on the Instagram so they know we're live.
Multitasking at its finest.
Patrick, we all know I'm the best at multitasking. That's a lie. I am not. Okay, so.
Wait.
No, we don't want more like a story post. That's what we want. I don't know how Instagram works. Did you expect professionality? No, this is me we're talking about. All right, there we go. There we go.
Okay, let me just pull up my homework.
Just casually getting your homework up. Very great.
Yeah, I need to do okay. Am I heard? Is my audio being picked up?
You should be being picked up, yeah.
Okay, because I have it muted anyway, so I'm not gonna. So we don't have an echo effect.
I mean, yeah, that should be all fine. So I'm gonna put up "We Are Live" post, send to my story. Kind of wish we could send a story post to not my story, but whatever. Let me send it to Mr. Humans too, because Mr. Humans is one of our mentors, and he actually, I wouldn't necessarily say active, but he uses Instagram from time to time. This is being very annoying. So this is supposed to be just a lot more of a chill stream. We're just doing random stuff. Well, not random, but we're just doing stuff, talking about slicers, talking about making trinkets till 6, and it's already 5:24. Magnificent. Okay, so, well, hopefully something like that works. I'm going to talk about 3D printing for a second. Things you can do with basic information and knowledge about it. So first things, I did not design this, but I 3D printed it. Some issues with the filament, some issues with some other stuff, and not that much calibration went into making it, but it came out okay. There's some weird discoloration and definitely broken parts because the filament's wet, and for those who don't know, wet filament, not good filament, unless it's a purger filament, but we're not getting into that. Basically, if your filament's wet, it's not good. So it didn't come out the best, but it came out okay. You know, it's pretty good for Caesar. It came out at a nice-ish quality. It's good enough. You know, it's just a nice thing for my college. Yeah, I printed out Salad Man. This is a blue Hatchbox PLA. Next thing I made was, this is actually for one of the people who, I don't know if is still, but was in the stream. is she is a streamer, and I printed out one of her emotes, which is her dog. It's I guess a comic style of her dog, and it's super cute. And basically, I got 2 colors because basically there's a way I can set it to print out one color and then take out that filament and put in a new color. Obviously, this doesn't work for the same layer, but you know, we can basically put down a base of black and then this base of blue, and we get a pretty good recreation of her dog emote, which I think is pretty cute. Obviously, a little bendable because it's super thin, and I also took it off, but that's pretty cool. And then now something actually kind of relevant. So the FTC kickoff happened a week or 2 ago, whatever. But this is an actual piece from the game. So for those who don't know, our money's coming in a bit later this year just because of some stuff. But I still have my 3D printer, that's mine, and I also have Team Filament, that's also but still usable. It did fail a print, but these have all printed perfectly, and I have a third one printing now. And what these are rings. And for those who don't know, this year's FTC game, which is our first robotics season for this year, it's the first season. We have an FRC, which is the second season for this year. There's 2 seasons in a year. This is the game element, main game element. Basically, we're shooting them into goals, and actually I can load up the field on Fusion, because that's fun. Is it updating? It is not. Oh, no, wait, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Field, and here we go. We can load the field. And these are basically elements. Obviously, they're yellow, and these are about 68.8 grams or 69 about around 69 grams with the scaffolding according to my slicer, or about no scaffolding, about 60 grams. However, I printed with scaffolding, took some off, so I'm going to say around 60-ish grams. And someone told me they're 30 grams, and these are already pretty light, so I'm thinking of a lot of stuff that we can move these with. We don't need a lot of power to move these around. So, for those who don't know, the way this game works is this is the field. Our robots, don't worry about these. Basically, there are rings here. We shoot them into these goals on the field. They're really lazy with the colors. This is kind of annoying. So, basically, they're supposed to be blue, red, and red, blue, red, or vice versa, whatever. And you know, the idea is you have the low goal you can shoot into, lowest amount of points, mid goal, medium, highest amount of points. And the thing is, the middle goals are swapped though, so if you shoot for the high one and miss, you're most likely going to hit the enemy team's one, giving them points. And then there are these things, which basically are poles that you can knock down with the ring, but not really essential to what we're doing or anything like that. Well, they are essential, but it's another thing to hit with the rings. And these things cost $500, I think even more with the field. So these, of course you don't want to 3D print it because they're not the actual style, but since we can't get money in yet, and we can't really just buy it, what we can do is I can 3D print it just to get a type of size. I can maybe adjust it to get the similar weight. That would just be filling how heavy it is on the inside as well. And then I can also potentially, I don't think I can get how squishy it is, but I can get it close enough where we can at least start doing stuff with it if we're unable to get rings in, or if shipping takes way too long, because that's an actual concern of getting this in, as these can take weeks. The field itself can take weeks to arrive, and even longer for us to fully set up and distribute safely, of course, with Corona. But something interesting about these is I was able to take the ring file itself, which is right here, and do what's called an emboss, which sounds complicated, but basically I put text on it, and it's a little difficult to read, but I think this camera can actually pick it up. It goes Epsilon Delta, which is our team name, -116-EV, which is the logo, and the only issue is our FRC, which is the second season team, is 116, and our first season team is actually 520, and it's technically, and the FTC is technically called Epsilon Delta 2, which TOO, but doesn't really matter. It's close enough. These things are really fun to like just toss and use, and they're going to be a lot more useful when we actually have robots, because then we can at least start testing the intakes with them. The only other thing I would say...
if we don't get robots, we can always just play ring toss.
That is a valid point. If we don't have a working robot, we can at least like throw them at the thing. Honestly, that'd be kind of fun. you know, hosting a carnival event similar to this, saying if you can beat a robot at ring toss, you'll get money. I don't know, that may be considered gambling, but whatever. These are the rings, text on them. Let me show you how to do the text first. That's a bit easier. And it's already 5:30. This is fun. So we're going to go to parts, and basically I imported the field itself because I imported the whole field. And then they also gave out a list of parts you can get individually in case you want to look at them individually, which in this case we do. So we have a ring, and you have ring parenthesis 116. And basically the way this works is here's the ring. All it is a ring. That's pretty much it. And now we're going to basically talk about making text on it. And there's a few ways you can make text. You can make a sketch and do something weird that way if you want to. I don't really want to do that, especially not with this. With a ring surface or something that's moving, you want to use the emboss tool, because basically if you use a sketch to try and put text in or out of something, that, how do I say this? So if you want to put text either in, so like this is indented into the file, or if you want to pull it out even, by just using a flat sketch, the issue is the curve, you know, you're going to have these really weird markings with the curve, and it just won't look good. However, the emboss tool basically automatically wraps it around any curve, which is a super nice feature to have. So we're going to start off by creating a sketch, but we're going to use the emboss tool instead of doing something with the sketch. And what I mean by that is we're going to come here, and first off, we're going to create sketch, and then we're going to look, okay, I want it to do it at the front, just for easy access. We're going to click on this plane. We have 3 planes, the front to back plane, the left to right plane, and the top to bottom plane. This is front and back, left to right, and that's top and bottom. We're going to click on front to back. And I'm getting a text. Vinayak can join now. Should we add him to the call?
Yeah, do whatever you want.
I'm getting text from Mason as well.
Yeah, you can add them.
I'm like trying to multitask. We all know this is a bad idea. I'm just gonna add Vinayak. What is Vinayak's username? I don't know. That's actually kind of funny. Normally he calls me. Oh, it is Vinayak. I'm a little out of it. It's Friday. I'm trying to relax. So we're in our sketch creation. I'm adding Vinayak to the call. Hopefully he doesn't just start like rapping or something. That'd be kind of funny. So we're gonna then, in the sketch thing, we have these little shortcuts here, or you can get to them here. We're not gonna really focus on them. This is where you would create rectangles, circles, arcs, etc. We're gonna just hit text, which is super nice and easy. And oh, Vinayak, are you here?
Yeah, I am.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, beautiful. So we're gonna come to text, and we're just gonna click somewhere. All right. And now it's going to load some settings and features. So I type text. Let's say we want team 520, and then in quotes, let's go Brady, because that's something the team screamed when we were at States or something like that. So first, I'm going to use this wheel to adjust it, just to rotate it. That's a little easier to understand. And then now I'm going to move while clicking. Here's a tip. You can click on any part of the cube, get a nice frontal view. I'm going to move this here, and it will only really let me do one rotated plane. So this will work because it's just a flat plane that's been rotated. This won't work because it's a plane that's been rotated in this direction, but it's also a circle. So it's not just rotating in this direction, like this, like this kind of. It's also rotating in this direction as well. That won't work. And this also won't work. The inside would work, and I think the bottom would work, but pretty much we want to just focus on keeping this on the side. So now what I'm going to do is use this, and I can see this through the sketch despite it being far away, which is nice because we can just put this here and say, okay, will this fit? And I can adjust it, and I'm like, no, that's not going to fit. And we can change the height. Like this feature a lot. I can come here, change the height. So let's say I can make it from 9 to 10 millimeters, and before I even hit OK, I can move this around, adjust it, and say, yeah, it looks nice. Perfectly fits. You can change the font, you know, there's stuff like that. There's some fun ones. But we're just going to stick with the good old Comic Sans because it's really funny. Let's make this 8 millimeters actually, because the font does change it a bit, you know. Always try to pick it first and then adjust from there. And now I think, yep, that looks pretty good. And I'll also do the from small changes come big differences. Alright, Vinayak muted himself, but I was just about to ask him some stuff. That's spelled wrong. I don't really care.
What's up?
So, Vinayak, why don't you, I need to get the charger. Why don't you tell people what you do on the team?
Hi people. I do electronics on Herndon Robotics. You know, I work on all the wiring and stuff, which helps things run. You know, organizations, pretty much all of it. What's pretty cool about CAD is that you can, you know, actually allocate space for all the, you know, electronics and stuff on there. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Right, all plugged in. That was pretty good timing, actually. Just got this plugged in. So yeah, he does electronics, you know, he does soldering. He does, actually, did you do electronics in FTC?
No, I didn't. Rayon did.
Okay, so this will be his first season with FTC Electronics, but with FRC Electronics, he worked on like a giant box full of really expensive, basically motherboard and computer stuff that does different tasks. That's not just for computers. You know, it would move servos. He would solder stuff like that, solder ports. It was really interesting, and you know, it made it let him be a nerd because we're all nerds here. Well, at least in the call. I don't know about the viewers watching. All right, so what did that just do? No clue what that just happened. This text just broke. That is really confusing. Oh, okay. Big differences. There we go. Did not spell that right. Doesn't have a spell checker. 0 out of 10. I'm never using this again. No, I'm kidding. I just suck at spelling, and they're not really, you know, most of the time you should be copying and pasting something. Anyway, so we're gonna hit OK. And I like this where it is. It all looks nice, and I'm gonna hit Finish Sketch. So, and this is just also a quick guide for other teams that want to do something similar to this. Let's say they want their team number on a 3D printed ring. They may not even need a ring. They just may want to, like, you know, use a ring and have it, you know, just be like 520 or not. Well, that's our team, but like, you know, whatever your team number is. We survived coronavirus. Look at this. We have like a cool customizable thing to remember this season. You got like a nice, pretty strong ring. This is, I think, a 10% infill. And for those who don't know what that means, in 3D printing, infill basically, in the percent of infill basically means how much is filled in the ring or in the object you're making. So 100% infill means the entire thing is filled up with plastic. 0% means none of it's filled with plastic, and 10% means 10% is filled with plastic. So I think we use 10 or 20% on this, but yep. Alright, so now to emboss in Fusion 360, you just hit create, and you just come down to emboss. I imagine if that was emboss and I just kept on saying that wrong. We select our sketch profile, which is the text we created, and then we select our face. We uncheck tangent chain. I don't know what it does. Don't do that. And emboss is what's the tool called, but we really want to do a deboss, because a deboss digs into something, and emboss would pull it out, and we want to dig into this, because this really shouldn't affect how wheels grab it, but if something's sticking out, that probably will. So then, the fans actually just got louder as I did that, because this is a laptop after all. As you can see here, this is very interesting. It is, you know, you can see it here, but obviously that's not what we want. We want to hit, I think, flip, and that should do it. You know, just get the adjustment right. Let's wait a second till that does. Hi, Jonas. That's Lucius is Jonas. He's our resident Roblox coder. And actually, Jonas, do you want to be added to the call? Oh, Mason can do an interview. This is beautiful. Sure, come on. Alright, so while I just do...
Aiden, something came up. I'm gonna have to dip now. See you, man.
No worries, no worries. Alright, so Vinayak had to go. No worries, totally expected. It's just supposed to be a nice chill thing. You know, not really a tutorial, more just me chilling. And that's, you know, first time experiment. Things plan to go wrong. You know, can't really change that. Mason should be coming on in a second, hopefully. And then we'll all be good. That's not what we want. Don't do that. Kids, don't do that. That's causing some lag. Okay, so this is being a little annoying. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take this ring and I'm going to physically move it where we need it to go.
You're talking about software, Aiden. How are you going to physically move it?
I'm going to physically move it in software. That's the big brain play.
Okay.
So we're going to physically move this ring, and the way I did that, I just hit M. I double-clicked on it, hit M, and it wanted to move a component. We just click on it and hit body, and we move the body. Couldn't move the sketch either, or even just the face, but we just did that. So now, come back. I don't care about generative design. Well, I care about it, just not right now. Emboss, select the sketch profile, select the face, then select deboss. And then if I rotate, if I do this, this is so much easier the other day. Okay, so this is 0.2 millimeter depth. I don't think that's what we really want.
What's happening?
All right, Mason's here. All right, Mason, tell us about what it's like to be captain.
Tell us about what?
What it's like to be captain.
It's definitely a lot of responsibility. It's extra time commitment, but it's a lot of fun. It involves a lot of stuff like planning team direction and just making sure everything works. But it's definitely fun to lead people and do robotics at the same time.
So you're just here just to lead, that's it?
Well,
you're only here for fun, Mason? Wow, no, I'm kidding. All right, that's the problem. Tangent chain, I think, was selected. I think that's what was causing a lot of issues. Because I don't know why, because this was working perfectly fine, like, last night when I pre-did the ring. Yeah, I did hold off on doing the Nautilus gears just because I want to do a lot more testing on just sizing, and that just is not good on stream. But besides that, yeah, so we're gonna go to emboss again, and hopefully this works this time. If not, that'll be fun to try to fix. Do not select tangent mode, and then select the face. I think that's the issue, is I was having the face selected and then undoing tangent mode. Yup, there we go. Everything works now. I have fixed the day. I have solved everything. Everyone praise me. No, I'm kidding, but sure. Okay, oh, it's in Discord. I am very sorry, Mr. Lucius. And that's Jonas, actually. I don't care if I expose him. I just did not have him added. Lucius. Add. There we go. Alright, so we have this nice deboss now. And we're just gonna hit OK. These fans are going off. But, you know, for a laptop, it's understandable. Hold up, excuse me for a second. Apologies about that. I am back. Jonas did not join the call. This is sad. Jonas joined the call. Alright. So now we have the ring and debossed and everything. Really nice. Make sure you have your tangent chain unselected before you hit the face, or if you do, you have to redo it. Mason, people can see the live playback of that. I don't think you want that on the internet. So we can see this right here. This is basically a deboss. It wrapped it real nice. If we didn't wrap it, actually here, if I undo that emboss, can I not undo it? Oh, that's annoying. I can just control V or Z, same difference. So if we come here and I hit extrude, not only is this text going to go too far, but even if it didn't, it's lagging. So let's say I put it this far, and I was like, okay, we're going to cut into this. And I hit OK, cut. And like, okay, you know, we have Team 520, bro. Oh, what's going on over here? And there you go. See, it put it in like a flat angle, which looks good from the front, but nowhere else. Nowhere else, because it's basically a straight cut through. That's why we use the emboss and deboss tool. It's new. Really glad they added it. Some programs have had it, but, you know, just glad we have it too now. Just mean do a lot more fun things, a lot more detail. Let us do stuff like this again, once again. I mean, I did accidentally put the, make it a bit too big, and the font made the P not have the line. I'm sucking at adjusting this. There we go. So the P and epsilon didn't really do the best because I wasn't really paying attention, and I was more like, want to print this right now. But not to worry. It's still pretty good. So now we're going to deboss this. Not emboss, deboss. Okay. What time is it? It is currently 46. We got about 14 minutes left. I may end it a bit early. You know, message retracted. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. So we go here, and this deboss is now done. Does that meet your standard? That does meet my standards. Thank you, Mason. You know you can unmute and speak to the wonderful audience we have of like 4 people that are probably me, you, and Patrick, and maybe my friend that's still here.
Yeah, bro, but what fun is that?
There's a lot of fun. This is why we need Brady here. Alright, so as you can see, we now have our debossed ring. It doesn't go all the way through, which is nice. And especially with 3D printing, you know, if I had this go like halfway through, the issue is, if you know with 3D printing, you can't print on thin air. So a lot of this stuff, like if I go look at the E, if I could flip it, if I look at the E and epsilon delta, look at that. So this thing would basically have to come straight out. And that's an issue because it's printing on thin air. So by doing it just by a little bit, it doesn't really need to come out that much, and the text looks pretty good, if you ask me. It's pretty alright. And that's pretty much how you make your own custom ring. You know, for any teams out there, you just create a sketch, click the deboss tool, or emboss tool, select deboss, no tangent chain, and now we have our own little custom ring. Now, all you do is I would hit File. Normally you hit Save. I'm going to hit Save As because I don't want to ruin the actual ring. I'll do Ring Stream because we were in a stream when we did this. And why is there an asterisk? Okay. I plan to do some streaming while I'm at the beach. I'm going to the beach. That's why I had to go for a second. Maybe if my Wi-Fi is good enough, I'll maybe be physically on the beach, but I'd have to run off a hotspot. That'd be kind of funny, but probably not worth it. And I don't want to get this laptop anywhere near the beach, so, But that's pretty much it. What we do here is, there's a few things we can do. So, this is something I don't and do like about Fusion. So, it's all cloud-based, which is all nice and fun in games, but the issue is if you want to export something. If you want to export it as a Fusion file, that takes, like, not that long, because you already have that file. But if you want to change it as something else, you actually have to click on the file, and hit export, not save, export, and then you can choose all the files. You have OBJ, STL, step files, you know. But the issue is, if I click on any of these, well, some of them. I guess step, SMT, SketchUp. Alright, there you go. You see some of these files, OBJ and STL, the main 3D printing ones, will say this file type requires a cloud translation. It just takes some time, and that's not really that big of a deal, but hitting export and having to wait is kind of annoying. But a fun fact is, if you have a single body, in which case we do, this is all one body, this is just cut into the body, it's part of it. We can just click on it, right click, and hit not to mesh. We don't want to move it to a mesh. A mesh will just make it much more complicated to use. We're going to hit save as STL. Format, binary, ACI, that's all fine. Refinement, high, yep, and then hit OK. And we'll do it to downloads as ring. There we go. And now that should have done it. If I bring up my downloads folder and I hit refresh, you'll see we have ring. Beautiful. And we have about 10 minutes left, and I'm probably going to just chill for the rest of it and show you, talk about my 3D printing slicer I use for quick stuff. Before I do that, this is, they have a built-in 3D print option, not messed around with it. I heard there's okay things about it, probably going to get better. I still like Prusa just because Prusa Mini, easier to use together. There are some things I don't like about it, and that's, since we're all done here, I can just close Fusion, and normally it'll say, do you want to save, but because these are both saved, or it wasn't edited, so they don't need to be saved, it just can close instantly, and I'm going to load Prusa Slicer. I'm getting DMs. Why are they all from Philosophy? That's the thing. Alright. Mason's just planning to leave the stream early. Okay, so we're going to go to here, and just hit delete just to remove it. Alright, so we're going to come to our files, and I'm just going to drag this on screen so you guys can see. Take this ring, drag and drop. There we go. We now have Team 520, let's go Brady, from small changes come big differences. Don't know if it's spelled right, whatever. Now, my Prusa Slicer came in with pre-installed stuff, that got really loud for some reason. I don't know if you can hear that, I hope you can't. All this extra, details and all that stuff. Mine was basically draft, except I made a 3.1 version just to make it faster. I may actually up that to 0.35 because I have a 0.4mm nozzle. I might as well try to get it as quick as I can, which is a major factor because these don't need to be super high quality. These just, well, they need to be high quality as in they work. They're not like jutting out of the side, but we want it to be actually printable and usable and not super slow, especially when you're creating something like a box. This, I'm okay waiting 24 hours for, sorry. It kind of has some areas where the filament and other stuff just wasn't ready and not tested properly, but I'm kind of okay. It's pretty smooth. I like it. I'm okay waiting 24 hours for this, or even 30 hours for my mask, which I don't know where I put it, but something like this takes about 5 hours, 4 hours, it's no text. But we're just going to look at this quickly for my 3D printing settings. So first you have different modes. These will just change what you can see on the menu here and what you can see here on the menu. So we always want expert just because it's better just to see it and not touch it. A few things I change when dealing with this. So first we have layer height. Obviously it's the 0.3mm one. I would just make a 0.31 and you can hit save, and then you can select what you do is you just come here and you type, okay, let's say if it's 0.8mm now, there you go. First layer height, I keep it the same as well. It's normally it's 2.25 and 2. I just make them both 3. And I do 2 parameters for something quick, because this parameters basically means the outside walls, how many times we'll do a wall, because obviously infill goes on the inside, so how many times is it going to go on the outside? Spalwa vase, don't worry about that, have it unchecked. Solid layers means how many solid layers is it going to print on the bottom and the top. That basically means, okay, if this is the top, this is the bottom, how many minimum do we need unless there physically isn't enough layers? So that means is this bottom layer gets printed 1, 2, 3, 4 times up, or 3 times from the bottom and 4 times from the top. That's just solid top layer and bottom layer. Don't worry about those 2 settings. I have this on, and for quality, slower slicing, detect bridging problems. This basically will just detect problems with the slicer, which means it'll mean it just takes a little longer to slice it rather than print. One of the things may suggest something that'll take longer to print, but these will just by having these on will make it longer to slice. Seam position is aligned. Normally it's random or nearest, and I don't like that. I want aligned, and I do external parameters first. What normally happens is when you print it, the default for Prusa is it'll print the interior ones. So if we're following a ring, it'll do the interior perimeter, then the middle, it'll go from inner to outer. And the issue with that is when we're going inner to outer, that's not what we really want. Because what happens is when it gets to the final layer, it'll have a little notch, and we don't really want a little notch. And we can get around this most of the time by printing with a, what's it called? By having external perimeters first. That notch is much less visible or doesn't really exist at all. Normally it's a little area where it goes in, but you really don't see it. If I were to print this, so many notches would be here. Nothing this smooth could exist. But because external perimeters first, beautiful. Infill, set to 10%. That's because we want a light. I'm going to set to 5%. I want to see how that goes. And fill pattern is 3D honeycomb. What that basically means is it creates that honeycomb pattern, except in the third dimension too. So every little bit there'll be a third dimension. Top and bottom fill pattern is the pattern it fills these in. So for those layers we were talking about, that's how it fills those top bits. Combine infill, don't worry about that unless it's set to like 50. Just don't worry about that. Skirt and brim, loops too. Loops is basically a skirt. It'll extrude some filament around it beforehand, just so in case something is stuck to it, it'll get rid of it. Distance from objects, how far away it'll spawn on each side, so it'll just generate around the bottom layer of the object. Skirt height is how many layers you want it to go. The default is 3, and I don't like that. I don't want it to be 3 layers tall, because I see sometimes they're stringing or it causes errors. I normally just have 1 layer, and that's it. Minimum filament extrusion, that's 0.4, just don't worry about that. And support material, make sure this is 0.2 detachable. This basically means my default is always 0.1, and that doesn't work at all, even 1.5. 0.2 works. That's all I know is I saw it was 0.1, despite the default saying it was 0.2, but it spawned as 0.1 and no settings were adjusted. And all I know is it detaches a lot easier this way. I had Vinayak, who's no longer on the call, but he did it as well. And when he started using 0.2, it works. Pattern is honeycomb, just seems stronger and a lot better to use. And that's, speed, you can adjust this, make it a bit faster. We don't have multiple extruders, yeah. So if you're using Poosa Slicer, which I highly recommend, those are the things to really look out for. That was probably very boring, and I apologize. But we're just going to look and see, okay, how long does this take to slice? We set the 5% infill. We're going to see how long this takes to slice. So all these supports, we do want supports, but only on the build plate. We don't want anything, because sometimes then it'll try to generate supports here, and that's a no-no. Actually, we do want them everywhere. I'm a little, because these are because we didn't drill them all the way in. If I can get the right angle, as you can see here, because we didn't drill them too far in, it just doesn't generate them. Sometimes if you drill it far in, like if we were about halfway here where my mouse cursor is, that would just be very poor and bad and not what we want. But this makes it so all the supports are like this, and we can see how many grams it uses. It uses about 60 grams with that. If I set the filament to 10, I slice it, or the infill to 10, you'll see it should be around 60.8. 65. I guess that's probably because I used a different text and I used it twice, but this is pretty much how you would slice it. The only other issue you can have is where in Fusion 360, if you export the STL in inches instead of millimeters, the default for here is millimeters. So if you have it in inches and set to 10 inches, and it'll read that as 10 millimeters, and then it's completely out of whack, and you don't want that. It'll basically say, okay, so instead of being like 100 millimeters, it's 100 inches and it's huge, or vice versa. Instead of being like, I don't know, 10 inches, it'll be 10 millimeters and super small. That's something just to look out for. That's pretty much it for this stream. It's winding to 6 o'clock now. I hope that makes it a bit more interesting and do a few more over the weekend. Besides that, like and subscribe if you enjoyed. If you didn't, then unsub and dislike. We want to know how good the content is. Leave a comment and enjoy your day.